Today we're looking at something we all need more of, free time.
Mhm.
But we're going beyond just listing hobbies. We really want to examine let's say, the strategic importance of what you do when you're not working, how these activities actually support us.
Exactly. It's easier to think of a hobby as, I don't know, just killing time. But when we looked at the source material, it became clear that these activities are often chosen, maybe unconsciously even, because they fulfill some really specific psychological needs.
And that's our goal today, isn't it? To move past the, knitting or playing guitar and really dig into the why.
Hmm.
We're trying to categorize these things based on their function. Understanding this might help you, the listener, be more intentional about your downtime.
Right. And to do that, we need a bit of a framework. We saw that most activities seem to address one of three core needs. There's depletion recovery, basically, getting your energy back. Then self-efficacy, which is about feeling competent or mastering something. And finally, communal bonding, connecting with others. Let's start with that first one, maybe the most obvious. Solitude and mental recharging. Things you do for yourself.
Okay, good place to start. So reading seems like a classic example, but the sources pointed out two really different ways people read, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It highlights how one activity can serve totally different needs. So one style was pure escape, getting lost in fantasy worlds, maybe complex mystery novels. The function there seems to be reducing cognitive load. After a stressful day, you swap your messy reality for a structured fictional one. It's kind of relaxing to follow a plot.
Right, letting someone else do the driving, so to speak. But then there's the opposite approach. We saw people reading nonfiction, history, deep articles. That's not really escape, is it?
No, not at all. That's reading as deliberate learning. It's active engagement, engaging the working memory. It's like mental training almost. For some people in the sources, especially high performers, they felt their minds got sluggish if they didn't actively learn in their free time. They weren't looking for rest, but for low-stakes mental stimulation, keeping sharp.
That's really interesting. So reading can recharge you passively or actively?
Yeah.
What about something more physical? Music and sound came up too.
Yes. And again, a contrast between active creation and passive listening. We saw one person whose main hobby was playing guitar, rock and blues specifically. Very active, very immersive.
And the function seemed to be about energy, right? The sources mentioned the energy of rock, the deep feeling of blues, and they said it was a daily thing to clear the head.
Precisely. It's like channeling that excess mental noise into something physical, rhythmic. That's depletion recovery, but through a kind of focused physical mastery.
Oh, but then others just listen to music, pop, rock, jazz, often daily. Maybe upbeat pop while working or to cheer themselves up.
And here the function is different again. It's more like using sound as a tool, isn't it? To manage your mood or focus while doing something else. It's less immersive, more functional.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on within this recharging category. What about getting outside? Nature and movement. Walking alone in a park, for instance.
Yeah, that came up. Valued for the quiet, the solitude. It's almost like seeking non-input, isn't it? De-stimulation. But what really jumped out was gardening, which might not seem relaxing at first glance. We're talking about growing vegetables, tomatoes, lettuce, and herbs like basil.
Right. Gardening involves work.
Yeah.
So why did the sources frame it as calming? What's the mechanism there?
Well, it's not just being outdoors, though that helps. It seems to connect to something deeper, process, patience, delayed gratification. The real value described was watching a tiny seed become something real, something you can eat. It connects you to slower, non-digital timescales. It's about consistent care, cause and effect. Very grounding.
Grounding, I like that. So these are quite internal, personal ways to recover energy. But you mentioned earlier these categories aren't always rigid. Like walking alone is solitude, but a running club, that's different.
Exactly. This is where intent becomes crucial. The activity itself, running, is the same, but the psychological function shifts. A running club is more about communal bonding, which leads us nicely into our next big functional category, the creator's outlet. Hobbies driven more by that need for self-efficacy, for mastery, making stuff.
Making stuff, right? Cooking came up here. Specifically, Italian food, pasta, pizza, experimenting with recipes, the satisfaction of creating something delicious.
Cooking is a great example because the feedback loop is so immediate and tangible, isn't it? You apply a skill, you get a result, hopefully a tasty one, and you feel competent. That's pure self-efficacy.
Okay, but hang on. The sources also mentioned cooking with family, making pizza with kids, it getting messy. That sounds more social, more like bonding. Doesn't that muddy our categories?
That's a really important point. And yes, it shows activities can evolve or serve multiple functions. Cooking might start as a way to master a skill. self-efficacy. But because food is inherently social, it easily becomes a way to connect, communal bonding. Making pizza with kids the primary function might shift from perfect pizza to shared experience. The original drive was creation, but a key benefit becomes connection.
Ah, okay. Primary function versus secondary benefit. That distinction helps. What about purely imaginative creation, visual arts like sketching?
Yeah, sketching landscapes, portraits, funny characters. The key here was that it's described as relaxing, not professional. The function is imaginative release without pressure. You're using your visual skills, your creativity, but just for yourself. Mastery of self for the self.
And that sounds similar to the literary side, writing short stories. Adventure tales, maybe with humor, done privately, just a few times a year.
Exactly the same principle. It's internal world building. The writer has total control, total autonomy. That feeling can be incredibly restorative, especially if your day job involves lots of constraints. You're proving to yourself, I can create and manage a whole system.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered recharging and creating. That leaves the third sphere. Activities driven mainly by communal bonding, by relatedness, connecting with others.
And one of the most common ways this happened in the material was through games, specifically board games.
Right, board games seem pretty popular. And versatile, too. The sources mentioned both longer strategy games, like Catan or Ticket to Ride requiring focus, hours sometimes.
And also quick, fun card games. Things like Uno or Exploding Kittens, much faster, more about laughs.
The specific game, though, seemed less important than the function. Board games provide structured interaction. You have a shared goal, which naturally leads to thinking, talking, laughing together. It's a framework for connection.
That idea of shared experience seems key for the next one, too. Going to the cinema, big action movies, comedies. Yeah, and what's interesting is the insight wasn't really about the movie itself. You can watch that at home, right? The real communal benefit described was the ritual afterward. Grabbing coffee, talking about the film. The movie acts as a catalyst for conversation and shared processing. The hobby isn't just watching, it's the discussion.
So if we pull all this together, the depletion recovery, the self-efficacy, the communal bonding, we can see how this huge range of potential hobbies fits into these underlying psychological needs.
Absolutely. Think about some other examples we found. Sports. Football, tennis, swimming, hugely varied. Swimming laps might be pure solitude and depletion recovery. Team sports. Intense communal bonding, belonging, shared goals.
Or crafts, knitting, painting, making jewelry. Often done alone, but the drive is usually self-efficacy, right? Make something tangible, beautiful. And knitting especially has that calming, repetitive motion.
Then there are learning and challenge hobbies. Traveling, learning a new language. Described as really rewarding. Why? Direct hit on mastery. You gain a measurable, complex skill that actually opens up the world. High return on investment for your free time.
And we have to mention the digital world. Video games, streaming shows, passively watching TV, probably depletion recovery, low mental effort. But mastering a complex video game, that leans heavily into self-efficacy and often communal bonding too if you play online with others.
It really does all come back to your intention, your underlying need at that moment. Hobbies aren't frivolous, they're vital inputs. They help us relax, learn, connect. They add color and joy to the daily routine by meeting these specific internal needs.
So thinking about you, the listener, taking this all in, what's the key takeaway here? How can you apply this?
Well, the sources clearly show that every activity, whether it's growing basil or playing loud rock music, offers a different psychological payoff. It might clear your head, help you solve a puzzle, give you energy, or build your sense of competence. So we'd encourage you to think beyond just what's easy or what you always do. The final thought we want to leave you with is this. Are you consciously choosing your free time activities based on the specific mental effect you actually need right then? If you're feeling overwhelmed, do you reach for something that gives you control, like gardening, or do you seek connection through a game night? Think of your hobbies less as random distractions and more like, well, sophisticated tools for keeping your mind in good shape.